Attention gamers. A few years ago, Jayce was one of the most popular champs in pro play. In Season 9 alone he was picked or banned in every other game with win rates worth taking home to meet the parents from the top pros. But recently you never really see this oversized weapon-wielding Chad on the Rift, and I don't know if the new items just aren't as beneficial for him as they are for newer champs who could practically Russian roulette the Boris shop and still have a build that works, or if I just play so far down in the depths of limp dick piss elo hell that I don't see his kit being executed correctly, because every time I do see one, he's always doing his best all-you-can-eat buffet impersonation. Perhaps having 6 abilities is just too much for small-brained bronzies to grasp when the game was designed around most champs having a much more optimal amount. Or ignoring that clearly defective Jin. It could be because doing the front flippies is so fun that every Jayce just can't resist hitting the hammer time.
Stop! Hammer time!
So today you are going to witness a severe case of Jayce Syndrome with a small foreshadowing of Rav Syndrome, with some bonus POV clips from a master tier player who could practically 1v4 by the end of the game.
The stage is set.
Alright, so introducing today's test subject, the MC of Making Me Mad, Mr. More blindly overextended than Helen Keller doing yoga, but why would he care, as he who wields the bigger gun / hammer shall prevail. And he doesn't see any weapon at all on the Loch Ness Monster, who is permanently stuck in the Michael Jackson Thriller pose. But what he doesn't realize is that junglers that start bot side are typically in the area around this time and harder than a 3C a la Sunday morning at the thought of a dumbass like this Jayce. So a retreat into the bush and a laser taser line come out, but it's not enough to overcome the obvious chromosome deficiency. That said, I am bot lane on Frozen Legolas because I couldn't find a better way to be a hypocritical view chasing YouTuber than to complain about ADCs sucking in every video and then make one saying double marksman bot lanes are OP. So I have Heisman here with his strap on wiggy, and the early combination of arrows and whatever simp static comes out of the twinkle shit is enough to overwhelm the wing ding. This leaves just Mr. Tomness alone under tower, and you can tell he is just metaphorically rubbing his hoofs together thinking about the dankly timed bouncy boy under tower outplay he's about to make, post on Reddit, become famous and quit his day job as the bus boy at Steak and Shake. But things don't quite work out, so if his boss is out there watching, Fat Tony will still be coming into work tomorrow. Then Highs, being a master tier player, says we have to get vision, and I'm like, nah dog, warding gets you killed. And sure enough, Prophet Rab is correct when the coked up sword lord lurking Lonnie is just waiting for him there. And I know a lot of you are prob gonna say we would have just got ganked and killed anyway, so hopefully my following actions of fickle skipping around then flashing into danger only to get CC'd, ball gagged and cucked help validate why everything I say and do is perfect. But it's cool because look at the plays, look at the moves, action is going on. Nothing is going to stop this man from clutching. Anyways, back to Gustan, that raw egg chugging pussy slaying simp from Beauty and the Beast, and he is just like, hit me once with that spiky trampoline, shame on you, but dick around, pressure me out of lane while I miss CS and hit me twice with it. And Rav will dedicate an entire video to analyzing every one of my mistakes like a true toxic League of Legend backseat driving douche and call it Jayce Syndrome. Turns out the blonde E-boy was really struggling with fighting the urge to act on an attraction to this gaudy goat, and he's like, nah, I should leave, to which I'm like, bro, channel your Beyonce, if you like it you should have put a ring on it. And so he did, and boy did earmuffs get the D that night. And I know I promised to flame this Jayce all game, but there's a reason why my parents felt the need to have another kid after me, and it's related to the fact that my entire existence is a walking failed compilation as I chase the shot of stupidity I just took with some walk in a straight line and do nothing useful juice until it's time to press Q and act like the whole thing was calculated. Then the midget mummy and the moron are just euthanizing a scuttle crab because it got into the Girl Scout cookies, and being in the 300th percentile for weight is too much strain on its heart, so it needed to be put down. And when my jungler sees what he's dealing with, he's just like, nah, that's not something a band-aid is gonna fix, lets the loser die, and then hits a quick back of the Baron pit piece. I'm outie. Hurry, hit a quick TP so we can get back to lane and lose 40% of our health in record time before using our cooldowns to clear 3 caster minions, because there's a lot to do today. After all, we promised that Loch Ness Monster that we would let him bitch bounce us again, then void puke on our back in the short time we had together before he had to head back to Fountain again. And at this point you're probably thinking, wow, that Jayce is lacking some serious skills, and that's why I hit Skillshare up and was like, yo, do you have any classes that could help a feeding top laner? And if you didn't know, Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of classes on tons of topics, and they are kindly sponsoring today's video. I get dozens of comments every day about how I come up with the things I say or how to write engaging scripts, and one of the first tools that got me started was a Skillshare course on going viral in content creation around making engaging film and writing, by a comedian himself, that was just full of tons of small tips and tricks that I still use in every video, and the whole course, like many others, was only about an hour. I would say for the less than $10 a month and an hour of my time, it was worth considering. If I add up my income of my recent videos, I have made close to $1 trillion from the skills it taught me. I've even been recommended to take a math class on there too. So here's the deal. The first 1,000 people to use my link in the description of this video get a completely free trial of Skillshare Premium, where you can take the class that launched my career and many others that fit your interests. Oh, and if you are wondering, they did get back to me. Unfortunately, they had nothing to help with whatever this Jayce was suffering from, considering he immediately then picked a standstill right-click battle, knowing full well that he scares easy, so yeah, he lost that battle too. Anyways, back to bot lane, where I am just continuing to demonstrate why I'm a guy who has to tell jokes as I aggressively ask these hostiles if they have seen my lost brain cells, and you can just tell Jayce is entirely too used to having to clean up the mess after I'm done with my little bouts of playtime before bed. But thanks to Pippi Longstockings here, I'm not the dumbest player in the game for once, as most people follow the anecdote live and learn, but this butt-munching overgrown sperm cell just lives, as the latter part of the saying requires intelligence, and because of that, he never lives for long. Meanwhile, I'm just solo sucking the butt of my statue like it's a waifu doll, as the blonde beauty sets up a gang to deliver the spank and hold the fucking phone. Boys, I land an ult, which, rare as it may be, makes me feel like I earned this kill steal. That said, Blue Barney up here has been force-fed so much this game that he is visibly looking larger, and unfortunately for the little jizz Jayce that could, cannibalism was on the to-do list for that mutant lizard. Anyways, we have stomped bot tower thanks to me, and me only, as Jayce catches that winged Kardashian out, so we chase, and by chase I mean I get spit sprinkled by dragon until we get a strong whiff of both cocaine and caffeine, so I shackle the samurai and we let him do one last Matrix marathon through our eye before dying. Then I just wanted to be like my homeboy Bobby Frost and take the road less traveled, but in this situation, it was absolutely the wrong road, so I just fucking die, leaving Blondie here in charge of collecting the names of all the bad guys responsible for my death before he joins me in Fountain. And at the time I didn't realize what was at stake in this game, but it turned out this Jayce called up a representative from the Guinness World Record book because he was attempting to break the how many times can you die to the exact same Cho'Gath combo in a row record. This leaves Tweedledee and Rav as dumb all alone up top to deal with it ourselves, and considering when a top laner gets ahead, he is casually 4 levels higher of both bot laners, but thanks to zero mistakes being made and every cooldown in our investment account being spent, this one turned out okay for us. Now for all you aspiring Jayce holes out there, this guy wants you to know that your cannon form W can let you kill wards right when they are placed, unless you have the response time of a paraplegic sloth, and in that case you can just die without doing anything of value per usual. Anyways, Jayce gets real quiet and then goes, Rav, what's the hippest kind of a fruit? A ba nay nay, and I giggle shit so hard an ult pops out, and sure enough the accidental one lands, so paired with the world's longest auto attack that joke turned out to be gold, 450 of it to be exact. And you probably didn't search for ultra satisfying compilation when you found this video, but if you did, please enjoy the attached demonstration entitled 3 Snipes, 1 Post-Coma Charizard. Meanwhile, this Jayce took a small vacation south because after calling his mom to tell her that he's a piece of shit feeding twat waffle that never gets honored by his teammates because he dies 10+ times every single game, she told him he just has to get away from it all for a bit, but unfortunately that wasn't enough to solve his issues. Nevertheless, Jayce and a flash mob of hooded midget employees were eventually able to get the situation under control. Then back at mid, the lights turn out and a wild Rav appears from the overextended lands of Losersville, so needless to say I get ADC'd, leaving it in the prodigal E-boy a-hole explorer's hands, and thanks to a Duskblade proc and a shift shitter into the chicken coup, he gets out. Then it's time to award this depressed midget mummy the grand prize of getting his kill stolen before hitting a Ricky reverser in the bush to let Sir Sideburns pop his GA like a piñata. But it works out because from the ashes he emerges to Potassium Zamboni, the dead bitch's body, before uniting with the boys to partake in the festivities that ensue after a fabled gauze grab. Checking in on feeding Franklin over here, and it looks like his day is not improving at this point, so he just kind of paces around nervously watching that toothy Godzilla single-handedly vandalize our team's private property until he gets fed up, says fuck it, what's the worst that could happen, as if history wasn't a good indicator. But I'll tell you anyway, he dies, shocker. Then I run in like my monitor is off and my keyboard is on fire, only to die as well, shocker. And then Hayes bails us all out by killing the genetically modified sea lion, fat freaking shocker. But then the very next play it's our turn to strap on the janitor ass-less chaps and play cleanup crew cosplay together, which honestly I was satisfied with, but this inbred hammer man would rather run in the complete opposite direction of safety, not once but 2 times, just because there was an opportunity to do the flippies elsewhere. And despite the odds being stacked against our team, being afflicted by both Jayce Syndrome and a pretty bad outbreak of Rav Syndrome symptoms in this one, this carry was as real as it gets. And thanks to an each enemy being tucked comfortably back in base, which we here on the Rift call a perfect ace, we all hold up our V card to show off the victory, and to that I just want to say, y'all are lucky I carried this one. Thanks to Skillshare for being a homie, and as always, Rav out.
I'm in your crib with the blappy boy, talk to me slick and I'm popping your pappy. If happy talk back, then I'm taking your Grammy, and boy oh boy I'll make her happy.